From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay.
I'm doing things the doctor said I couldn't do.
A program that's helping get more farmers back to work after injury and illness. What's left after a wildfire tears through farm fields in California.
When the fire comes through, it's amazing all the work we put in every year and year after year, and then just a couple of hours it just wipes it out.
And a new problem for farmers trying to dry out their crops following a wet growing season.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado and the all-new Silverado HD, the strongest, most advanced family of Silverados ever.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. This year's wet harvest is causing a new problem right now, a propane delivery crisis. Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin are all providing exemptions for propane delivery hours of service. It's all an effort to get fuel to farmers and co-ops as quickly as possible. Now, instead of managing drying capacity for their crops based on bushels per hour, farmers are now having to consider how long they can go before running out of propane and when they can get a refill. Now, Farmer Tim Barak of Iowa speaking about the problem on AgriTalk.
The suppliers have a priority to make sure homes are heated and livestock buildings are heated. And then dryers come after that.
What makes matters worse, according to ProFarmer Inputs Monitor editor Davis Michelson, residential heating demand is only likely to increase as more cold weather blows across the central and northern Midwest. These shortages come as a surprise to many because fuel suppliers were aware of the crop's wet conditions and the likelihood of increased need for propane this fall. In addition, the Energy Information Administration's Winter Fuels Outlook pegs national propane supply at 16.8 million barrels above this time last year. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross is optimistic the U.S. will reach a Phase 1 trade deal with China this month. Ross saying they are quite optimistic the remaining issues for the Phase 1 deal can be closed out. China also upbeat. Trade officials there saying they've been able to reach a consensus on principles. Now, Ross has said Iowa, Alaska, and Hawaii, and locations in China are all possible places for President Trump and Xi Jinping to sign the deal after the cancellation of this month's Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Chile due to unrest in that country.
First, I want to get the deal. I mean, the meeting place to me is going to be pretty easy, but first we'll see if we get the deal. And if we get the deal, the meeting place will come very easily. It'll be someplace in the U.S.
Wilbur Ross said further phases of the deal would depend on things involving legislation on the part of China in some sort of way to enforce it. Authorities have lifted evacuation orders for several farm communities as firefighters make progress in putting out a Southern California fire. But what some are finding when they return home is heartbreaking. Just look at what the so-called Maria fire did to this land in Ventura County. John Grether grows several crops on 120 acres of land. He estimates that he lost 10 acres worth of avocados. That's close to a 10% loss for Grether, who says avocados are resource intensive and take a good investment to bring to market.
Here's an avocado that was scorched on the outside, and I've cut it in half here, and you can see how there's damage already showing up on the inside. So this fruit will drop off and be ruined, and it'll definitely not be sellable.
When the fire comes through, it's amazing all the work we put in every year and year after year, and then just a couple of hours it just wipes it out.
While the cause of the fire hasn't been determined, Southern California Edison, the electric company there, reporting it had re-energized a high-voltage power line minutes before a nearby hilltop exploded into a blaze. It had earlier turned off the line due to heavy winds. The USDA recently rolled out national regulations for hemp production, and production of the crop was legalized in Illinois this year, and farmers are learning how to raise it. Now, earlier this fall, as Todd Gleason reports, Illinois Extension hosted a hemp field day near Roseville.
And about 200 farmers showed up on Andy Houston's farm. He has hemp growing in the field, and it looks like Christmas trees. He also has it potted in a greenhouse. Houston, a corn and soybean farmer, admits the hardest thing about growing hemp is the lack of information.
Right now what we're doing is basically we're trying to learn techniques that have been already used in Colorado and Oregon and seeing how they adapt in Illinois. And then we've tried to also do some of our own as far as techniques that I've learned over my farming career and see how they work growing hemp too. So that's probably right now, there's just a lot of unknowns in hemp, and that's probably about the hardest thing about it is it's so new and there's just so much left to learn.
Hemp has not been grown as a cash crop since the end of World War II. The varieties and cropping conditions have changed, and there's very little university research. That's ramping up right now, even as field days like this one are happening, says Illinois Extension's Philip Alberti.
I would say that, yes, we're still, as a university, starting to put together a team to start research going into 2020, but we have a lot of work to do and some years to do it.
Now, out of the gate, then, researchers and farmers will both be racing to figure out the best management practices and working hand in hand to navigate the brand new hemp regulations released this week by USDA. I'm Illinois Extension's Todd Gleason.
And if you'd like to learn more about growing hemp, why not join Farm Journal for Hemp College? There are sessions scheduled in Las Vegas, Indianapolis, and this coming January in Chicago. You can find more details at agweb.com/events. Over the weekend, lots of producers in the Midwest took advantage of a short break in the rain to do more harvesting. And one farmer had the advantage of a little extra help, as meteorologist Cindy Clausen shows us.
Well, Clinton, this video is just too good not to share today. It comes from Clem Bowman. He's a farmer in Western Ohio. Now, he's also the father of 6. Check this out. This is his 12-year-old running the combine, and he says the 11-year-old was handling the grain cart, and he was running the truck. Great work by the whole team there. Thanks so much for sharing that video. And let's get on to our wind speed forecast. And as you can see, it'll be kind of the Great Lakes that'll be the focus of the stronger winds as we head through the daytime hours, but we're going to have a clipper system coming through, and so parts of the plains are going to start to see those winds picking up, especially tonight, and those winds will then translate eastward into the southern Great Lakes as we head through our Wednesday, spreading into the upper Midwest and even into parts of the Central Plains as well. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll have your national forecast. Clinton?
Farmers in Australia finally have something to celebrate when it comes to weather. Heavy rain fell in the drought-stricken New South Wales area. It's the largest rainfall event since 2012.
The rainfall triggered quite a bit of social media discussion. It's all very exciting, and I mean, this is the highest single-day total of rain that we've had here since the end of March, and that makes it pretty significant.
In January, more than 99% of New South Wales was experiencing drought conditions, according to state government figures. There's good news and bad news right now when it comes to cotton prices. We dive into the market coming up, and later some mechanical help getting farmers who have suffered injury back to work. More hopeful signs about a Phase 1 trade deal getting signed with China, helping soybeans seeing the green on Monday. Here's an update from the CME.
Today in the grain markets, soybeans were higher. Improved trade negotiations. Is it actually happening? There has been a lot of talk about that perhaps something is going to start to happen this month. But time will tell. We don't know for sure. Fundamentally, all the numbers really remain the same. The USDA report is coming in on Friday. It should be somewhat neutral. I think that's why we saw that the rally in the market today in soybeans really started to tone down a little bit and maybe pull back, but it still was higher. So we have to watch that overall. Today in the livestock market, we saw the cattle with another high. That strong cash trade just is driving the market up. Definitely happening on Friday. We've had overflow buying today. I think that more follow through is making this high beyond what anyone had expected. The futures are definitely been overbought, and they've been overbought all of October. The trend is your friend without a doubt. Feeders were mixed today. Now the demand says buy, but the technicals say sell. Certainly the correction will come, but not today. There's no surprise that when the momentum like this takes over, we know that the electronic market is in play right now, pushing it higher.
John Payne with Daniels Trading, our guest here on Ag Day today. John, let's talk about the cotton market, because we have seen prices move higher slightly, but nowhere near what they were a year ago.
No. So probably 15 cents lower than we were a year ago.
Yeah.
A lot of that has been taken out of due to the trade war. The other part of it has been just the fact that we've had a huge acreage jump year over year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that won't happen again. I think we'll start to see acreage fall, but we export 85% of what we grow. Yeah. So when you talk about a strong U.S. dollar or trade problems globally, cotton's really going to suffer here. In those MFP payments, cotton producers were paid the most out per acre, rightfully so in my opinion. I think going forward here, we've seen a nice little rally, and a lot of it's based off quality concerns, but I think the majority of it is based off the fact that the Chinese currency is strengthened. So, really from June on, the Chinese yuan fell apart. You saw cotton prices really weaken up, go into those high 50s. We've seen it return, and I think it's really correlated with that middle part of August when a lot of these other commodities rallied. And if you believe that this trade war isn't going to end anytime soon, and you think that President Trump's going to take it, to another level and tighten that vice with more tariffs, cotton's probably a sell here. 67, 68 cents on that March contract is a fantastic price point compared to where we were a year ago. Put options are probably the best way to play it, but trying to find a buyer on your own if you're not in the pools is maybe the best, most aggressive way, because there's going to be a big fight for warehouse space in the short term. I'm with folks who think that the quality's not there. It's certainly been a tough year in West Texas, but I think in the long run here, we've seen a nice price jump. You got to take advantage of it.
All right. Well, so much at stake and at play here as we kind of get through the harvest season for cotton. We appreciate the insight. We'll be back with more AgDay coming up in just a minute.
To find John's newsletter, This Week in Grain and Oilseeds, head over to www.thisweekingrain.com.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Well, taking a look at our map, we're going to be seeing some rain and some snow as we get into the east today. A couple of main features is one's going to be this front that's going to have that moisture in the eastern part of the country, but we're also going to watch this clipper system that's going to be bringing a little bit of snow to parts of the plains and eventually over towards the Great Lakes. So as we head through our Tuesday, we're going to see that rain moving into the far eastern coastal states and some snow on the northern side of that. We have a secondary kind of a weaker front that will help to reinforce that cold air and bring in a little bit of a chance for some snow in those upper Great Lakes. There's the clipper system bringing in some snow to the Dakotas, into Montana. That slides off to the east, and we'll see that snow now entering Minnesota and over towards Lake Michigan as we get towards Wednesday morning. High pressure keeping things fairly dry then in the southeast as we get into our Wednesday, and at least to start in the southwest, but we're going to start to see some more moisture coming in there as well. Watch as we head through our day on Wednesday, that low pressure with that clipper system now moving into parts of the eastern lakes, so look for some snow, some rain on the southern side of that, but we do have some more unsettled weather in parts of the southern plains and over towards the Four Corners region. Now, as we look at precipitation, the past 24 hours really hasn't been a whole lot in most areas. We've had the heaviest amounts down in Florida. When you add on the next 24 hours, it's going to be those two frontal boundaries that we were talking about, the one that's going to be affecting the far east and then that clipper system with that low moving right on through the Great Lakes. As far as snowfall, most of the last 24 hours has been, for the most part, north of the United States border with Canada. But then as we get into the next 24 hours, you start to see that clipper system taking shape. So we'll see more snow in Montana and then through the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes states as well. Let's take a look at those temperatures as we're going to be seeing some 30s and 40s. So still some cool temperatures in the north central United States, warming up through the 60s and 70s as you get down into the southern states. Overnight we go, we'll see those lows getting down into the 20s and even in the teens in the north central United States. 40s, 50s, 60s down in the south and still a few 70s for those overnight lows. So that's a pretty big difference there from north to south. And then tomorrow we see a bit of a cool down behind that clipper system as we see some highs in the 20s in parts of the northern plains. Looking at that jet stream, that all-important jet stream, check this out. We have a trough that's going to be affecting pretty much the northeastern quarter of the country, that ridge holding strong in the west. But then as we get into the weekend, look at this shot of cold air that's going to be coming through right in time for Veterans Day and beyond. Real deep trough heading through the Great Lakes. So we're going to see some much colder air coming into play for a lot of the eastern part of the country while we keep those warmer temperatures out west. That's a look at your national forecast. Now let's check on the weather where you live. Caliente, Nevada, plenty of sunshine for you with a high of 70 degrees. Devil's Lake, North Dakota, snow showers later today and into tonight, high of 28 degrees. And Harts, West Virginia, showers possible with a high of 57.
Still ahead, proposed changes to the H-2A program are picking up more support. Plus, finally, some good news to report about milk prices. Next.
Ag Day, brought to you by Corvus Corn Herbicide from Bayer. Get an early season win against weeds with Corvus for end of season rewards.
Milk futures seeing some increases lately. Class 3 milk futures jumping 29 cents for November last week and 38 cents for December. The result, $20 milk on the board for the first time since 2014. Class 4 milk also traded slightly higher as well. Barrel cheese has now risen 91 1/4 cents per pound. That's just 16.5 cents from its all-time high. The farm workforce bill is getting dairy's nod of approval. The bipartisan immigration bill would provide legal status to current ag workers and their families and reform the H-2A guest worker visa program. Specifically, the plan offers a path to legal status for longtime ag workers with clean records. The National Milk Producers Federation is supporting the bill, saying, quote, America's dairy farmers are eager to advance and improve this legislation as it moves through the Congress, end quote. Negotiations on the bill have been in the works for several months. If it passes the House, it still faces an uncertain future in the Senate. Injury and illness sometimes keeps producers out of the field, but special machinery is helping to give them back what they love. Next in the country.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry. What do you call someone who does dozens of jobs? A farmer. At Pioneer, we're proud to work with generations of American farmers in the most complex and rewarding industry on earth. So from your friends at Pioneer, thank you, farmers.
Physical limitations don't always mean you're limited on the farm anymore. The University of Tennessee Extension coordinates a program called AgDay. Charles Denny shows us how special machinery helping farmers stay safe and productive.
I'm doing things the doctor said I couldn't do.
Yeah, including farming.
Yes.
Farming in his blood, always. Michael Norrod of Rickman helps run a cattle and forage operation, a family farm that goes back many years. In 2012, Michael was in an ATV accident trying to get a cow in the barn. Despite the serious injuries, he now has this lift getting him in and out of vehicles.
Yeah, it helped me get in the truck, out of the truck, on the tractor, just whatever I wanted to do and get out and do other things.
Yeah.
Besides, yeah, freedom instead of being confined to the wheelchair and in the house all the time. Basically. Yeah, it got me back on the tractor helping cut hay and raking hay and carrying hay, putting it in the barn, and even get out to feed the cows and the horses in the wintertime. Just, it put me back to work.
Michael is part of UT Extension's AgDay, a program connecting him with state funds to obtain the lift. AgDay is a USDA-funded program that helps farmers facing difficult obstacles with assistance in equipment, farm management, and emotional support.
When they have a disability due to an accident or illness, we don't want them to have to give up their lifestyle and something that they love.
AgDay marks 25 years in 2019. Since 1994, the program has helped more than 1,300 Tennessee farmers and farm families. Charles Cowan in Gibson County runs a blackberry farm. AgDay helped him purchase a battery-assisted power pruner, replacing his hand pruner.
And I can go down through here and get the pruning done in a reasonable amount of time without causing my arms any stress or carpal tunnel in my hands.
In the past, a physical limitation might mean a producer might have to give up their calling, but not so with AgriAbility. With an attitude of courage and resolve, along with assistive technology, the program allows farmers to keep on farming.
Don't give up.
This is Charles Denny reporting.
And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.